zaga, zaga, zaga.
There's only one thing on my mind. Haven't lost my mind. You know why? I want to shake it, shake, shake it. I want to shake it, shake, shake it. There's only one thing on my mind. Haven't lost my mind. You know why? I want to shake it, shake, shake it. I want to shake it, shake, shake it. Belongs to us.
Zaga, 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 zaga.
Come on, party.
Zaga, 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 zaga.
Rock luka kaima.
Zaga, 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 zaga.
How many Teresa?
Zaga, 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 zaga.
Me do 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 tita. Shake it, shake it. Me do do. It's again in a weekend. Me do do tita. Shake it, shake it. Me do.
Just like that. Adora and Jalisa with Shege 821 on a Tuesday morning. Good morning. Welcome to the morning mix, man. We're always loving local music here on Informanté Radio. Moro Moro Meria.
Morning.
You're okay. Okay. How's the long weekend been?
It was a long one. I can't complain.
Day 18 of the lockdown today.
Yeah,
I'm still counting.
But I was just saying, it's like public holidays on lockdown.
It's
like independence on a Saturday.
It makes no difference.
It makes no difference.
It's like we did, like, I wasn't even really 100% sure it was a public holiday until I got confirmation when I was here in the studio. Because everything is basically the same. Everything is closed. There's no real movement. I guess the only difference between that and a regular public holiday is that, people would be drinking, but there's no alcohol.
Yeah, and oh boy, are people struggling with the alcohol.
With the alcohol, yeah. That is apparently the current struggle now.
Yeah.
Alcohol. Anyway, we have not reported any new cases yet. Still standing at 16, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 13 active.
Yeah, 13 active, but still 16 positive cases found in the country.
Yes.
The authorities did mention that they were going to announce whether we're going to extend the lockdown or end it at 21 days today, which is the 14th.
Yeah.
So, later during the day, that information should be starting to trickle through.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
What do you think, though? Like, I know you're probably, fed up of just being home and you can't wait to get to work. But what is your opinion? Do you think we should remain in lockdown or we need an extension?
I'm in two places. Because the point of lockdown is to do thorough testing, and we know our testing rates have been very, very low. Not just in comparison to other people, but just
generally.
Just generally. I think we're standing just a little over 400 tests done now, which is just very minute. So that's the one side. It's like, okay, you're doing an extension, but you're not doing mass testing. So what's really the point? That's the one side. But then my other side is that this is actually week 3 of since lockdown. This is week 3, and generally symptoms should have
started manifesting by now.
Should have started manifesting by at least by the 14th day. And we're past that. What day are we in now?
Day 18.
We're in day 18. So we actually don't have that big of a problem like I think we initially feared.
Yeah.
I think no testing, symptoms would have revealed themselves.
Yes, of course. If you had gotten the virus, you can't have everybody infected being asymptomatic.
Yes.
There would have been symptoms here and there.
There would have been a lot of symptoms, assuming it had spread as widely as we thought. We thought it did. So that's why I'm in two places, because the other side of me is actually wants to believe that the prompt action we took when the first 2 cases were confirmed was good enough for us to say, to contain it, that we actually did contain it. And yes, we're not seeing numbers go up, and I know there's a lot of skepticism, but after in the 13th week, numbers should actually be declining, not going up, especially when your borders are closed and you are on lockdown. So you really don't, there's no movement to spread infection.
Yeah, to keep infecting.
People,
yeah.
So people that were in quarantine should be healing. Patients should be healing at this point.
Yeah.
And those that are asymptomatic, like they say, should have also healed by now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like to think we did contain it, but that's just the
optimism. You know, it's even I look at the numbers, and you know, I look at the whole entire situation, our reaction time, and I mean, we've stood at 16 cases for over a week now, more than 7 days, no new cases of all the suspected cases that were tested during that period. So, you know, it fills you with a bit of optimism, but you also want to stray on the side of caution, because you don't want to react too quickly and then end up with a problem, a bigger problem later on.
You don't want to get ahead of yourself, and that's why I'm in 2 places. Generally, I think like extend it by another week to be safe, on the safer side, but I don't think like extend it for another month. That's a bit.
No, a month. The suggestion that Neba was making, that actually a couple of people have been making, is, you know, we don't need to open up entirely. We can keep, for instance, the borders closed, but then we start trading within the country.
Well, let's be clear. We don't have the power to open the borders. We have, because of the countries that have closed theirs.
Yeah.
Like Angola is going to remain with closed borders because their numbers are going up.
Yeah.
South Africa is definitely going to remain with closed numbers. I mean, closed borders, because their numbers are also going up. In Botswana, they're even reporting deaths now. So they got caught completely off guard.
Off guard, yeah.
I don't know. Zimbabwe would probably open its border, but what do we want from Zimbabwe? You know.
We want to send our stuff there.
Well, we'd have
Maybe
to
we
get it
can
from
sell
South
them a
Africa.
thing or two.
We'd have to get it from South Africa to send it there. We don't have much to send of our own products. Let me rather say.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's like really yes. Borders are going to remain closed for a while.
They are going to remain closed. Yes.
Harbors are going to remain closed for a while. But yeah, I guess open up to some, like, I don't know if kids going to school is
opening up trade, basically. But that, okay, look, this problem, right? Because, like they're saying, the information is basically that the kids, for the most part, are the carriers. Without really getting sick, for the most part. Yeah. But they do spread the virus. And you remember when we had was it hepatitis E, the outbreak? When even at schools, for me, it was a problem, because you come there, and then this one is eating a sweet, takes it out of the mouth, gives it to the other one, and then it gets passed on. You know how kids are when it's just kids around. So if the virus is actually out there somewhere in this country, then having the kids, especially, back on the playground could be a big, big problem.
I think, yes, but I feel like there's a way that you can rework the timetables.
Okay.
So what you effectively do is, obviously, you cut the hours at school. You take out, for example, lunch can be had in the classroom, not playtime. Everybody has their lunch at their desk, no interaction. Ultimately, what you create the school to be is a place for learning, and that's it.
But it's kids.
No, you're not understanding me. You don't have breaks. You don't have breaks and you don't have playtime. So the kids arrive in school, get into their classes, do their lessons, not do the moving around. So the teachers are the ones that come class to class to do the teaching. And then, like, by 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, school's out.
And they have to go home.
And you have to take them home. And so you minimize, so there will still be interaction in the classroom, but there won't be playtime, like, break time, the kids running around, and then you cut out for now the extracurricular activities. In fact, you can actually have it for, like, class to class once a week, take them on a field, make sure there's social distancing, make sure they get in their athletic,
the exercise,
the exercises, the sports activities. But other than that, no extracurricular activities, no break time, no PE. Like PE, like I said, you can limit it to once a week. But like really change the modus operandi to make sure that kids are still getting the education, because we know, like from my kids' school, it's easy. All of us can do online learning. It's not difficult. All the parents have the equipment and necessities. It's a private school. Everybody can afford it. But for most, not as many children are as privileged, and they do need to make
most public schools.
Most public schools, if not all. They need to make use of a classroom to get their lessons.
I understand. Like, I guess it is going to have to be the way. It's we were trying to sort of look into back a couple of weeks ago. It's like, what is it going to look like post the coronavirus? This is basically where we are now. We can't go back to business as usual. Even if we do want to open up trade, there are going to have to be some precautions as far as the schools, as far as businesses, as far as all these people, all these places where there's trading and there's mass gatherings. There's going to have to be some form of regulation, even if it doesn't come in the form of laws, but just basic social norms that we were going to have to start getting used to.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that everybody was doing all the time, but I think now it should become part of our fabric as a society. Just constantly be washing your hands and make sure you stay clean. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, time will tell.
We'll see. I can't how it will be justified one way or the other.
What do you predict?
A short extension.
That's my feeling. That's my prediction.
Yeah, maybe an extra week or two or so, extra 10 days or something like that. Just to make extra sure. That's what I'm thinking. But like I said, we're gonna hear. Let's root some comments.
It's been a long month?
Yeah, it's been a long month. Yeah. This is April, ne? Congratulations, class of 2020. We are still proud of you. You guys going to announce that the lockdown is being extended, or no? We do not have the authority to make that announcement. Yes. Puta J van Wyk, mora yela mora mi bro. Asentie Mungu anaweze kwa kila jambo. Guys, I it again. Morning mix and wow. Paka Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah. Upi, I'd say me bro. And Wilfred and Ralph also joining the show. Inet Masaka, more 19 findings. What's next? It's the same old. It's wreaking havoc everywhere it goes in the world. Yeah, a lot of countries are really on the ropes. Like the US is not getting any better. The Italians have started showing a slowdown in new infections.
China has reported new ones again after they come. It's crazy.
Push everywhere. You try to beat it here and then it jumps and starts a new
2 hours ago, on the coronavirus, in the USA, we had about 25,874 new cases in the last 24 hours.
Sure.
Yeah, so like in excess of almost 26,000. And then just over 500,000 total cases.
In the US, yeah.
Like 581. And then 43,924 recovered, 23,608 deaths. So 23,000 deaths is massive.
That's a lot.
Percent of the cases are in New York. Of the total
epicenter, they're calling it.
Exactly. And then nearly 3 million tests performed. So this is where we were like in the last 2 hours ago. But 23,608 deaths, that's massive.
That's a lot, yeah. No, but in like New York, like you're saying, where like New York was hit really hard. I remember the governor or the mayor or whatever telling Americans like basically, we are your future. This is what your state is going to look like if you are not careful. And you're seeing it starting to spread also to some of the other states, especially. The weird thing is, right?
What state is New York in?
In New York State.
Is it?
The weird thing is not all the states in the U.S. are under lockdown. Some states have no. There's no lockdown.
I hear states like Arizona, for example. People are
moving around.
They're moving around. I mean, they're keeping obviously within the rules, which is social distancing and whatever. But you can go for your walk and your dog, and you go about your business. And like, I think further south, it's a bit more lax.
It's like, there's America. Meneer Dirk Kleinschmidt, môre. Ons geniet jou company elke oggend. Rachel Hampe. Goeiemôre. Wat is die storie van China en die Africans?
Oh my goodness. Oh, tragic.
Students.
No, the racism, there's been racial tension brewing in some areas in China, where the Chinese landlords basically kicked out Africans, specifically blacks. Like, they targeted black Africans. Well, if you're African, you're black, sorry. But anyway. And they don't have, like, they just put them out on the street,
no, you guys must out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of videos circulating that obviously a lot of the Africans captured and said, like, some of them had even paid 6-month upfront rent, and they were just given 1 hour. Like, the landlord just knocked on their door, said, leave 1 hour, you have 1 hour to get out of my place.
And do you get a refund?
That's a good question. And like, nobody is protecting the people. Like, the police is on the side of the landlord. Like, in fact, you have people that are carrying out this order. People were in hotels that were kicked out. So they were just, like, in some of the videos I saw, they were just roaming the streets like endlessly. They don't, obviously at the time like Corona, where do you go? The hotels don't want to take you in. You don't have any other accommodation facilities. Like, your landlords have kicked you out. And obviously, but some African states did take it up, like Nigeria. I think the ambassador engaged
the Chinese government.
The Chinese government and said, like, what the heck? But I also saw another interesting, I'll show it to you afterwards, another interesting video of a Chinese lady actually confronting one of the landlords, and she was saying, excuse me, but we also have Chinese people living in these African countries. What if they retaliate? Because of your actions and because you're not putting thought into it, because you want to be racist, because you're not throwing out white people or non-Chinese people, or even Chinese people. You're specifically targeting black Africans.
Yeah.
And that's very dangerous, because a lot of our fellow Chinese people are also staying in those countries. And if they retaliate, it's not going to be good for us. And all because you're not putting thought to action. Yes. And it is true. I mean, we're not really a nation we're not people to retaliate like that, but it's a possibility, because some people could just get.
We have seen the issues in
Hello, Mania.
Come, hello, Mania. We've seen the issues in for instance, South Africa with the xenophobia and stuff like that.
Especially South Africans.
Yes.
Very capable of taking matters into their own
exactly.
hands.
And you know, the Chinese are everywhere, especially here on the African continent. They are in every country. Yeah.
Literally everywhere.
So it's I guess it's a bit short-sighted.
It's not a bit. It's very. But then that's generally. I feel like, you know, if you find a racist Chinese, you will experience a racism that
you've never experienced.
It's that, like, dehumanizing. I mean, remember the story of how they made their workers? They would like relieve themselves in plastic bags at night.
Yes, I remember.
And make their workers every morning go throw those
plastic bags away. Yeah, I remember that story.
Oh my God! Not even the most racist, like.
Oh, that is just insane.
Crazy.
All right, let me pay some attention to our guests of honor. Mr. Winfred Pokolo, are we blessed to still be at 16, or is winter to shock the virus? We'll see. Gabriela Simbo, yes, borders must remain closed. Then we start business and still adhere to the rules. Yoni Mwahafa, Botswana extended the lockdown to 6 months now. Right? I don't know. It's the first time I'm hearing that. But in any case, Winfred Pokolo saying, let us extend until the first week of May and see if there is a correlation between increased cases and winter. Winter?
Yeah. No, they're saying there's this new theory about it's a seasonal. Apparently, coronavirus is seasonal. But the thing is, seasonal how? When we all going through different seasons.
Yeah. Look, and yeah, exactly. Like right now, we are all going through different seasons.
Some people are in summer, some people are in winter, and it's everywhere.
Yes, exactly. And if it's seasonal, when one of those seasonal flus come by, it has to touch everybody before it completely leaves.
Yeah.
So most of you are not going to be saved. But in any case, Gabriela, that's a hell of a long time. Oh, we're replying to the Botswana extending for 6 months. I'm looking at that a bit skeptically. 6 months is a long time to be in lockdown.
We have Google, so
yeah. Right, while you do that, I'm going to continue reading some comments. Jeffrey Combrink. Ooh. Just remember, winter is coming. And the Night King is coming. Mwewa Kenana. Play me John Sakata, Just Another Day in Paradise. Okay, I will tell that to the next DJ.
It seems there might be some truth to this.
6 months.
Says the government of Botswana Wednesday requested legislators to approve a 6-month state of public emergency to curb the spread of coronavirus in the southern African country. So it's I think it's a request. They put in this request, but whether it was, I don't think it has been approved yet.
Yes. It's not official, but it is an idea that they are sitting with.
Yeah.
All right. Gabriela Simbo, agreeing with you. Schools must open and teachers go class to class. That's good. I also think that is actually a very good idea. Elizabeth C. Biekus, classes are big, 49 in a class.
Yeah, you see, once you cut classes short, you can actually have 2 classes.
Yes.
In a day. So you have your morning schools that have big numbers. You can have morning students and afternoon students. Yes. It's going to be a lot of work for the teachers, this we're definitely going to have to put in time. You're going to really have to invest resources in teachers. But that's how it should be anyway. If you think about it, I mean, you should have well-paid teachers.
Yes.
In any functioning society,
they're creating.
Yes.
Out here, all the human resource products are coming through their heads.
System,
yes. Yeah. So for them to be complaining about pay and for us to not be paying them properly, it's just
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, you can have schools, for example. So you have your 2020 students or learners. Morning, like I said, if schools are ending, let's say at 12:30 or to 12, you can have a next session at 2:00. Again,
and until then by 3 o'clock or so you're done.
Yeah, by 2 or by 4 you're done.
Yeah.
For the schools with bigger, but then at least kids are still getting the education. Like I said, it's gonna be a clear, focused teaching. You're not there for any other thing. You're there to do your lesson and your lesson plan, and you go home.
And you go home. Yeah. Mutatio is throwing sort of a spanner in the works, saying, "Maria, my kids stay in the hostel." What do you do with boarding schools?
That's a complicated one, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be complicated.
Yeah.
Hear the announcement today.
I mean, the unfortunate part is if you were clear, if all the kids in the hostel were clear, like they don't have coronavirus, they can stay in the hostel.
Yes, that can be their quarantine. Yes,
that becomes their
isolated
because they're isolated in that sense. The problem is if one gets in, that is sick.
Yeah.
Then
it's going to spread like a wildfire.
Exactly.
That's true. Softer Sophie Gausses, wow, even just being in class, kids will touch each other. Kids don't stick to social distancing.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised what you can get kids to do if the messaging is correct.
Yeah. Yes and no.
I mean, kids currently, I don't know how but you sit at your desk, right? If you space out tables, not so like all the way, but I'm saying you space them out.
Just space them out enough for each one to own their own space.
They own their own space, and obviously you take control of a classroom. it shouldn't be too difficult.
Gabriela saying Corona doesn't have specific time to infect. Why having cut off that school ended 11? Just go until 1 as usual. No, so you can spread. The idea is to spread the classes out a bit longer and maybe have fewer kids in each classroom.
Yeah.
So instead of having a classroom of 49 students, you have 2 classrooms of 20 students each.
And also cut out the things, like I said, most timetables allow kids, for example, longer breaks so that they also interact with other kids. But if you're cutting that out, your timetable will become shorter. It's just inevitable, you know.
I see this is becoming quite the topic of interest because there's a lot of opinions coming in. Jaffa the Rio Boys, Kabachap. But the risk is still high and no social distancing maintained in a class of 30 kids. So I don't agree with your suggestion of keeping the kids in the classrooms during lunch. Would you rather have them running around on the playground with, and you know, like at playtime, there's no real supervision. Yes, there is supervision,
There's no real supervision.
but there's no real supervision.
Yeah.
We all know.
Yeah. Try and explain. If you're sitting in a classroom, the people around you is those 4 or 5 other fellow learners around you. When you are out on break time, you're potentially coming into contact with 100.
Yes.
So, say
class
agree.
you're running.
Yes, you will still get in contact, but I'm saying you're trying to limit. It's like how we coming to work every day. Yes, I mean, me coming out here is, but look at the people, number of people in studio.
We're still in contact with each other.
We're still in contact, but we've minimized the number.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's ultimately also how you fight this.
Imagine, have you seen those kids standing by the tap or on the playground, all of them drinking from the tap?
Oh my gosh, with their mouth
With their mouth, yes, exactly. Maggie Divirus Kangumine Shivikwa. Alright, that surely won't happen, so the teacher will never leave class or what? Or okay, maybe let me just continue reading. No, that is not working. I'm surely not sending my child to school until further notice. He can repeat the grade next year. You know, we don't know where all these kids have been during lockdown. You send your child to a class of 40 learners. No, I'm not doing that. Look, I understand some people are going to be really, really skeptical of any human contact, even if we do open or we do end the lockdown. Right? I know people who are sanitizing their sanitizer because you're seeing
wiping down their groceries.
You're seeing coronavirus everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's okay. You're being careful, and that is sort of admirable. But you also have to work within the facts that are available.
And here's the thing: if we're being honest, we don't know what lies ahead. And when I say we don't know what lies ahead, is we don't know if eventually coronavirus or COVID-19 specifically is something we're just going to have to live with. Like, life is not going to stop forever, right?
Yes, of course.
At some point, we're going to have to open borders. At some point, we're going to have to continue business, as maybe not as usual, but maybe this is a virus that we're going to have to live with as a human, and that means we're going to have to make peace with losing lives annually. Maybe
unless we get a vaccine, which is going to take a while.
In the event that there isn't a vaccine, I mean, best case scenario is that we get a vaccine. I'm saying in case we don't, this is something. So you can stop education, but can you stop education forever? Like, if the coronavirus just doesn't disappear.
Yes, if it doesn't go away, are you going to keep your kid at home?
Yes, exactly.
And for how long? Yeah.
And for how long? Yeah.
Lizette Steenkamp saying it is not possible to practice social distancing in pre-primary, and then that comment just jumped because there are so many comments coming in.
Stop. I don't actually. I've never believed in the pre-primary. Primary, like pre-primary is in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I've always thought it's a very frivolous system. The best education in the world, for example, countries like Finland don't actually have pre-primaries.
They start with
They start with grade 1. They start with primary school, and the reason for that is that kids are still energized and eager to learn by the time they enter a classroom.
Yeah.
If kids have 5 years of preschool, because they started like going to daycare at age 1, and that's 5
6
years.
Months, Mommy gotta go back to work.
Yes, and that's 5 years in preschool.
Yeah.
By the time you get to grade 1, you're not as energized for grade 1 as you should be.
Okay, Cubase, you're sometimes breaking up. Okay, travel from lockdown regions should be allowed with strict caution, says Easy Israel. LM Nakathila Angula, Meria proposal won't work. It'll be complicated implementing social distancing at school. Guys, everybody wants to go back to normal, to the way things were. Things are not gonna, we can't go back to the way things were. Things have changed.
Yeah, so my question is, what is the alternative? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like online is... think about it. Online is not an option for everybody.
Yes,
and we can beat this till we're dead and blue.
Exactly.
Online is not. We haven't done the work in technology, and we have not uplifted families to a point where even just access to the internet is an option right now.
We can't even put up 5G towers so you can learn fast.
So we're not in a position for online. Like it's a privileged few that can do online.
Yes, exactly.
So if you take that into consideration, this virus, I don't think for the remainder of the year is ever going to completely go away. So the question is, what do we do? Do we then just keep kids at home knowing that online is not even an option?
So that means like a lot of school-going children are going to lose this whole academic year. It's just going to be gone. Maybe even half of the next one.
I mean, the Ministry of Education was wise enough to assure them that they're not going to miss the year. They're not going to repeat. So I'm suspecting if this continues for a year, they'll probably just mix the two grades. So kids that were, say, grade 4 this year will do grade 4 and 5 next year, perhaps. Kind of work like robots. But what if next year we're still in this situation? This is my question. This is not something we can completely shut off.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if there'll ever be a vaccine.
And we can't keep postponing. So we need to start figuring out ways to sort of get back to normal, even though it's not the normal that we used to know, just to get life moving again, get the economy moving again.
Yeah.
Any update on existing cases? No, we're still standing at 16. 8 days now since we last reported a new coronavirus infection in Namibia.
Yeah.
Emily Dion Dapuka, Cubase, your sound it's breaking up. Please do something.
Yeah, somebody said...
yeah, okay. Somebody says it's breaking up. Somebody says it's okay. But we did fix the volumes here. Maybe you should check the volume on your device. Maybe.
Was it not an old comment?
Yeah, but most of the comments are anyway a bit behind when I read them.
No.
So just bear with me. Mr. Don, guys, every time your sound clips, it cuts. It clips. It clips because it is a bit high, okay? Easy Israel, Cubase, ISO. Okay, Fabianus Narip, morning guys. I think extending for a week or two will do us great. Better safe than sorry or dead. Ons sal regkom. I mean, ultimately, that is also what I feel. I mean, if the risk is too big to just open up and go back to the way things were, then maybe we take a hit for 1 more week, 2 more weeks, and then we ease back into the way things used to be. All right. Anyway, Pau Denny, if school starts in Namibia, Corona will get an opportunity to spread. Look, the virus is not just gonna be born out of nowhere, right? And just suddenly appear because the kids are at school. They they should have gotten it from somewhere. It's not just gonna be. It's not just gonna develop there at the schools just because the kids are at school.
Yeah,
right,
it's not just a breeding ground. Like they come together and then they create this COVID-19 together. Like your energies and my energies in sync, and we're like cooking this new disease. No, guys,
exactly,
relax. It has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, if the virus is here, then understandably we cannot open up but we cannot end the lockdown. We cannot open up our borders. We cannot do none of that. But from the information that we have, the numbers look like the virus might not have, penetrated the community.
Yeah.
A few cases that came from the outside maybe infected 1 or 2 people who were traced quickly and then, of course, isolated as well.
Yeah, and we currently have people in quarantine, by the way.
Of course. Etienne Ian Samantha Fourie. Will Namibia also sue China for all the losses? Why? the world didn't sue Spain for the Spanish flu, which broke out there.
Who's to blame for the bird flu?
We didn't sue Mexico for the swine flu. So it's Fora Lalele Namuño. I'm just worried, right? The infected persons will they ever recover? Okay, they take too long to recover. What if we get new cases? How much longer will they take to recover?
It's usually 40. It's actually not that long. I think we're impatient.
Yeah.
The thing is, they recover and generally then they have to, like, there's a waiting period they have to do another set of tests. So you could find that all 13 actually now in remission, as they would call it, but they have to do that final test to be cleared. You know,
and it also depends from person to person. I mean, some people have the flu for 3 days, some people have it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but generally they tell you 14 days to discover and 14 days to recover. Generally,
it's like I was.
And if you're not dying, you're recovering.
Exactly. I was seeing a case of I think a nurse in France who took her mandatory. She got infected. She got tested positive. Went into self-isolation, basically quarantine for the mandatory 2 weeks, finished, the symptoms cleared, came back, but she still tested positive for the virus.
Yeah.
So the virus had not cleared the system yet, although the symptoms were gone.
Yeah.
So, like I'm saying, it differs from person to person.
Yeah.
And also remember, if you have tested positive, before we let you just out, you're going to have to get tested again to make sure that the virus really is out of your system.
And let's not lose, like, the end of it is like we have 0 deaths yet. That's whatever else we're going through, that's a positive. We have not recorded any deaths. So let's hope that we stay on that road.
It is positive. COVID-19 has not claimed a Namibian life yet.
Yes.
Jason Jake also want to know, that's why I'm asking, I also want to know about what? The people that are infected, the 13, any update? They're still being treated.
Yeah, and what I predict is perhaps, if not this week, next week, we will probably report 5 recoveries at once, for example.
Yeah.
It will be a bulk number. But yeah, they're definitely recovering, because I think there was only one, is it ICU case? There was only one serious case.
Yeah.
Out of the 13,
out of
the 16, sorry.
That ICU.
Yeah,
treatment.
it was somebody that was, but that needed a breathing machine. But otherwise, everybody else was just mild.
Mutatio Customs, Maria, I will start with my neighbors. Shh, they are Chinese. I will throw them out and extend my house. DJ Droopy, this guy made my high school years. My clubbing life during my high school years, so it just made it worthwhile. Great to have you on board this morning. Rebecca also joining the show. Arang Ru Muzola. So sad, I can't believe it. Okay, sometimes you guys confuse me with the little conversations that you're having with each other. I'm worried about crowded schools. I think we all are.
Yeah, we all are.
It's like a bunch of antelope standing by the river, just waiting for the first one to jump in. We are all skittish, of course, because we are not sure what is lying on the other side. But at one point or the other, on Salmut, Tazi Anoweni. BBB also joining the morning mix this morning. Mora. Botswana already approved 6 months last week. Yeah, well, not according to the information that we have. The Google machine is saying something else.
The Google machine says requested.
Yes,
That was
not
reported
approved.
5 days ago.
Yes. Vanessa Guibep joining the show. Lamek Konjashili Timotheus. Sound is not fine, my people. I did say. But lockdown already when you prohibit people to move. Of course, we are in lockdown. That's why people are... maybe I'm a bit slow this morning. Erika Jinx Grief, let's just move on. All our Namibians don't have access to internet or PCs, and now with small businesses stuck without incomes, how the hippa?
Yeah, it's a tough time.
All right, look, there are 2 ways to look at it, fine. The businesses are closed, you're not getting any business, there's no clientele. Or we can open, and then you can watch all your clients being killed off one by one by this COVID-19. All of them flocking to the hospitals, and you can stand with your open business with nobody walking in. So let's just all walk together. Let's try and get to a safe place. Yeah, at least, and then we take it from there. Franklin Lobster meant at least we can work. Oh, okay. Elizabeth C. Biegas, please. The learners are grade 8 and 9s are having 9 subjects, big classes. It's okay.
By
fine.
the way,
You
let me just say,
oh, yeah.
morning and afternoon classes is not a new concept in Namibia.
No.
It's actually been done.
I remember that in my primary school.
Yeah, even up until I think even last year during the flooding, for example, during floods and during
Yes.
they would have two classes for students because that's the system.
That's the situation.
That
The
was the
situation that is
situation.
there. You need to figure out how. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a new concept, and it actually has worked. Having afternoon classes and morning classes is something that was implemented some time ago. It's worked. I'm saying it's something we can go back to. It wouldn't be a new concept. It would just be one that's required during this time.
Yes.
For overcrowded schools.
We can implement temporarily. And by the way, guys, right? We love the fact that you join in on the conversation in the mornings. Actually, we really much appreciate that. Yeah.
Very much so.
Very much so. But especially if like something like this, right? If you're in disagreement, throw a suggestion our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a better?
Yeah. What do you think would work better instead of
Yeah.
this? Because we can't keep the kids at home the whole year. Even if we do open up, let's say we risk trading, and for instance everybody has to wear a mask or whatever. I'm giving you a hypothetical. We're still going to have to figure out what we're going to do with the schools, because nobody's going to be standing there watching the kids, making sure they're socially distancing the whole time. So we need to figure out another way to have them go back to school without being such a big, without it being such a big risk. Yeah. Kids will still be playing with each other from and to home. You know how kids are. Yes. Don J. Mwandi, according to what I'm hearing today, my job is still available on the morning mix crew as the sound guy. Where do I send my CV? Inbox it to Marius.
How bad is your sound? Because everybody's complaining.
I don't know, like I get like 2-3 comments, and then I get other comments about other stuff, and then I get a comment here. So I'm not sure now if this is current, because I've got like 83 new comments that I'm looking at. So I don't know what came in now, what came in a while ago. We're still having the problem. If I move down to the bottom, then I'm gonna lose some of the comments here in the middle. They're just gonna disappear. Yeah. Etienne and Samantha Fori, anyone with the answer on the 13 infected? Yes. Minister Shangala. Vistorina Madila, the issue with no break will... Shangula. Ons is oor die kop geslaan met Saki. It's like, that name is so stuck in our heads. I'm sorry, Mr. Minister. Not former minister, I'm sorry, Minister Shangula. Vistorina Amadila, the issue with no break will result in fatigue, especially in the first weeks, which will affect productivity. But we have to do some uncomfortable things to get somewhere. Yes.
Let them eat in the classroom. It's
Yeah.
not like, don't deprive them of food. Just
Dayambekwa Akupa. What do we do when a case of coronavirus occurs at school? We can't rule it out. Of course, it is a possibility.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to give the same messages. If your kid has the symptoms, don't let them come to school. Let them stay home.
Stay home.
It's like a flu, right?
Stay home.
Stay
let them
home.
heal at home. And if they are not healing, if the symptoms are becoming serious, then they can go into hospital care.
Yeah.
Gabriel. Interesting. Before you talk, make research. Most of the schools are already having morning and after school. And the reason being because classes are not enough. And 2, is not always else for parents to manage their kids in the afternoon because they go to work in the morning. In most cases, ask the kids to leave home early and go to school and stay there till afternoon classes starts. I don't get it. Did you understand? Should I read that again?
No, it's okay.
Thank you for your comment, Gabriel. Yes, and just like we were saying, I mean, it's not a new concept. It's a concept that has been here. It has been used in various situations here in Namibia.
I think he's saying that
She.
saying that it's not a new concept, but it's a difficult module to work with because of the drop-off and pickups of parents and how it interferes with their schedule. I'm assuming that's what she's saying. Is it not? Is not says Gabriel. Gabriel would be a guy.
It's Gabriel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's. I think she's disagreeing that that's actually a workable solution.
Okay, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Hit us with your suggestion.
Yes, give us suggestions.
Give us a suggestion. We're welcome to all of them. No, stop imports and support local. We can do it. That is something that we have been preaching for years, but it's not something that you can just drop and start
Well,
overnight.
like who sells matches? Nobody.
Yeah. Who's going to make you matches, lighters, toothpaste?
Exactly.
Yeah, like all of these things. and you don't just start a factory. I mean, you have to set up the factory, you have to get the machinery, you have to train
Invest.
the people, and it takes ochimaliwa. Yeah. Israel, guys, we are not originated in Commerce nor Orongo region. We have family at the north that we need to see, and by extending it will probably not be fair to us, so we should be allowed to travel. You will not be allowed to travel because we can't risk you taking a virus to another region.
Will you die if you don't see your family for another week or two? I doubt it, so it's okay.
Yeah, FaceTime. Fora lalela na mwenyo, right? Required social distancing is 1 meter. How big is that class, right? All kids should just be clean. The virus don't come when you can be 2 or 3 and it can get you, I guess. 2 sessions will not materialize. We'll see. All right, Robert.
Now I was gonna say, like, I think whatever else is decided, whatever solution is not gonna work for everybody. That's just we're all just different in that way.
That's what we've been saying.
Yeah. So what you ultimately want to do is find a solution that works for majority.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna work for everybody.
There's no one size fits all solution.
Yeah. They never will be.
They
never will be.
So we gotta go with the one that is the most sensible, that makes the most sense to, and really helps the situation. Okay, Bernardo C. Waka, I'm gonna move down to the bottom now because we're actually running out of time. So parents in Windhoek should use their lunch break to pick up one kid and drop the other one during the same day. Let's see a brother and sister at one school but different grades or schools.
Yeah, but usually schools would take that into consideration. So siblings would have, let's say, the same morning sessions.
Yes.
And then if they're having afternoon one, siblings would have afternoon, even if it's different grades. I mean, this is a very easy thing to work out.
Because basically what you're doing is you're giving the same class, like that same lesson will go to 2 different classes.
Yes.
Because basically these kids would be supposed to be in the same class, but then you divide them because you don't want them too many in a class.
Yes.
So that lesson is going to go to the first class and the second class. So I guess, you can decide whether you want your kids to be coming in the morning or in the afternoon,
exactly.
whichever works for you.
Yeah.
And that is something that can be worked with the school. But, all in all, we're engaging in hypotheticals here.
Yeah,
this is ideas that this is not a directive that has come from government or anything like that.
We're not professionals to really be advising government. We're just throwing ideas around.
We're throwing ideas around just like you guys are when you also comment, and we are very much, let's read them. Vasho. Rachel Celotto. How do you pronounce your surname? All right, why not at home schooling through internet for those who can, less children at school?
Yeah, those that can.
So you have some kids in class and some kids streaming from home.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The idea
is actually also interesting.
Yeah. I think, for example, at my kids' school, as they're looking at online, but like I said, they have the capacity, or the parents have the capacity to allow their kids to do, because they've got gadgets, they've got internet, they're all Windhoek based. It's easy. But I'm saying it's something that will work for that school and not necessarily
Not for every school.
not for every school. So of course, I mean, if you can manage online, because online also means submitting your stuff online, and in some cases it even means installing a program, so that the kids can do their daily activities.
Exactly.
If that's what it means, then for schools that can do it, great. But like I think while private schools can mostly do it, I don't see
Public schools
having the capacity to do it.
Imagine streaming, like, I don't know how many classrooms there are in schools. Let's say 10 lessons at the same time.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, which public school do you know?
And then kids need guidance generally for these things. It's not like you just put a computer in front of their face and be like, do this lesson.
Yes.
You need to be
If
present as well.
If they're homeschooling, who's going to be there helping them?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you need to bear in mind, like you were saying rightfully, it's not one size fits all as well. Like what works, for instance, for Windhoek High School or for Janmoor, which is also a public school, would not necessarily work for Okanja Secondary School.
Yeah, of course not.
The circumstances are different.
Or Oshifidi Primary School.
Exactly. Jan Jonker and Academia, it's not going to be the same solution that works to the satisfaction of at least the most people. All right, Erika Jingsgrief, if we all stand together, I'm positive that we can get the use of Wi-Fi points and needed technology.
Yeah. Well, let's hope Ministry of ICT takes this very seriously, and that you know what I always say, the coronavirus exposed a lot of country shortcomings globally. Yeah. Every country is able to. Like even in the USA, they actually realizing their health system is not as great as they try and sell it to the rest of the world. Very, very fragile public health system, and then on top of that, they're realizing that their diets are completely crap. There was in some states where all the deaths were black people, but then they found that black people in USA, African Americans, are very susceptible to it because they have their food. They eat a lot of oily food and
pre-existing conditions.
Yes, pre-existing conditions. I mean, they're not geared to a healthier lifestyle.
It's like diabetes.
Yes, very
stuff like that.
Exactly, all this stuff, and that's had a major effect on them. And so hopefully after this, people will be able to sit back and say, whoa.
I feel like our way of life is definitely going to change. There's no going back.
Yeah.
There's no going back. This, if nothing else, this coronavirus taught us the flaws in the way we live.
Yes. It's exposing all of us. All of us are naked, and we're just completely exposed at this point.
Yep. Fora lalela na mwenyo. The morning and afternoon sessions was only workable when there were lots of learners per grade due to classrooms. But if you still have 39 or 40 learners in one class, isn't that the same problem?
Yeah.
Anyway, grades were divided. Say grade 5 to 7 in the morning and grade 1 to 4 in the afternoon, which could still be the case. And then you use the higher grades who are not there in the mornings, you use those classrooms to put some of the lower grades in during classroom sessions in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever the situation may be.
I mean, if we need to play catch up, use weekends as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Forget school holidays.
Because, you could be in a situation where it's either that or your child has to repeat next year.
Yes. Yeah. And if this continues, maybe you have to repeat 2 grades. So, we gotta weigh the options.
Never, my great greyhound is missing. Just see Maria wearing him.
Oh no, this is a rabbit. No, just kidding.
Ooh. All right. I think it's time for us to go as well. It's well past 9 already. You will be joining us again on Thursday. Today's Tuesday.
I'm losing track.
Every day, it just looks like one long day that is sometimes dark and sometimes light. But nothing is really changing.
Yeah.
Anyway, like we said, thanks for joining our therapy session this morning.
It really is a therapy session. We enjoy having you guys in studio with us.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work. Thank you.
What time will the announcement be made? There's a live stream coming from the COVID-19 Communication Center in about 10 minutes on the very same Facebook page where you found this live stream, the Informanté Facebook page.
I doubt it's going to be announced there.
Yeah.
Because it's something I think that has to come from the higher up.
Yeah.
But let's see. You never know.
Yeah, but that is most the official communicate point at the moment. So maybe not. But that is the best place to get the answers you're looking for at the moment.
It's also very possible that the State House will call.
Will make an announcement from there.
Yeah.
That would sort of defeat the purpose of having this one here.
No, they would have both. Even when he was calling his press conferences, they would still have this ones. Yeah, because this one is accessible to all the media, and State House now has been closed off.
No media.
No, on selected media. Media houses.
State media.
State media.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Enjoy the Tuesday. I have noticed that some businesses are apparently back to work today, so please stay safe. And let's follow the rules, man. Let's beat this corona thing. I know we can.
Yes, we can.
Senor Donna Rahmeria. I'm back tomorrow morning with Tati Neville.
This